A Different Perspective nails it. Nails it. COVID itself isn't the killer. It's just more deadly with underlying conditions. Right. If you have those comorbidities, it's been established. People talk about trust the science, trust the data. The data is there. The data is there.
The data is there. Certainly it is. Welcome to A Different Perspective, where civil commentary is priority. And let's go ahead and get started with some solution-based dialogue. Well, hello, everybody. And got a good episode, a good response video to the streamers that I've had the privilege to, have a back and forth with. And the particular title of this stream that I'll be responding to is labeled "Brad is apparently a terror threat. Are you?" Weekdays with Craig and Brad, episode 115. So you can find the clips that you'll see in this video that I'm making can be found in that title of their stream. So if you like what you see, I encourage you to subscribe and make comments, help with the algorithm and just make me more legit so people that are more established would like to have conversations with yours truly. So if you don't have a lot of followers, people are not going to look at you or, entertain talking to you because they have other people they can talk to that are cooler than you. So I need cool points. But I already know I'm cool, so it's not for me. It's for, debates to happen. So aside from that, I got cool points taken away because look at that. That's still a hot mess back there. But at least I have a shirt with no bleach stains. So, I'm breaking even when it comes to cool points. That's all I can say about that. But, but Brad and Craig are different. They're established online content creators, and they give pretty much anybody a platform because that's one thing a lot of people don't realize that's so important these days. People willing to have a conversation and listen and actually give you a fair shake. And that's rare. And that's when you can see that there's integrity out there when people are willing to talk to you. And I rarely find that from people on the right. And I just want to emphasize that, in my opinion, Craig and Brad are considerably more on the right than I am. And I think Craig considers himself a moderate, but I'm like, well, who'd you vote for? If you voted for Cruz and Trump, you're not a moderate. But anyways, that would be a conversation for another time. Let's go ahead and talk about today's topic of discussion. Let's go ahead and start off with that little highlight reel. Nailed it. You nailed it. COVID is not diddly in itself. And you know what? It isn't, but it's a very serious issue because there is so many underlying medical conditions out there. I compare COVID to the C4 explosive. When you combine both the components, boom, blows up in your face. And that's what's happening right now. So let me go ahead and tell you what the order of topics I'll be discussing today. First, I'm going to go ahead and talk about the science, the statistics, the economy, how COVID affects the economy, and also some consequences that have arrived from just bad leadership. And, it's just a hot mess. So those are the three areas where we're going to be discussing today's episode. So let's go ahead and jump right into the science part. I'm not going to talk about all the underlying medical conditions. All this can be found on the CDC government website. That's where I got my information. I'm just going to talk about the top three. The first underlying medical condition is obesity. Anxiety is number 2. Diabetes is number 3. So if you have one of those underlying medical conditions and COVID, you have a 30 to 35, that's the range, likelihood of death. So, man, that's a pretty big percentage right there. And it's not too out of the ordinary to have more than one underlying medical condition. And does that increase your likelihood of dying? Yes. So that answered some questions I always had because, like many people on the right that, I'm related to them. So I actually see this making fun of people wearing masks in their cars. Now that kind of makes a little bit more sense because when you have such a high statistic, reminding you of your demise if you get COVID, it doesn't really surprise me that people just leave their mask on to their home and take a shower. So that's just the sad state of affairs that we're in right now. I mean, people are that worried because that's a high number. I mean, you would probably poop your pants if someone said you have a 15% chance of dying if you had this or that. That's pretty high. So, hey, we got to make sure we understand that. And what are we going to do to help people feel more secure and safe? That's the thing, you know. I feel that we should think as a team, have a team effort to fight our common enemy, COVID. But so when you have all that concern and all that uncertainty, it affects our economy because what will people that have genuine concerns like that, are they going to be going on vacations? Are they going to be going to restaurants? Are they going to be dining in, you know? So you're not going to really need certain jobs and positions like you did in the past to accommodate all the clientele because there's just less people willing to be in certain establishments in person. So that's a big problem, you know, because the people, they're all about their liberties, their freedom. They're willing to take the chance because they're just a hero like that. They're not going to be able to hold up the economy themselves. We need each other to make sure that small businesses stay open, not closed down. And that's another concern. I mean, the economy, especially catering to small businesses, people they're going to be extra cautious are going to shop from Amazon, shop from big retailers that can cater to the demands of online services, and you really can't blame them. But at the same time, it is what it is, and that's a real life example that we could all say we've seen, especially if you're in North Texas. A lot of closings of smaller businesses. I know I saw that in my city. I think one surreal moment I had was when I went to Target in the beginning of the pandemic. I was like, whoa, there's a line outside. Well, I mean, it wasn't that big because I got there early, but once it was my turn to enter the store, I looked back and I was like, whoa, it's considerably longer. And now I'm in the store. I mean, it's kind of cool. It's calm. It's so quiet. And as I got to the aisles where I normally visit to get the things I normally get, I just saw a lot of empty aisles. So when people like Craig or Green, like the things he sees, what helps mold his politics, like milk, the price of milk. Well, what molds my politics is the availability of milk. I mean, I would rather pay a little bit more money for milk so I can have it versus not even seeing it, along with so many other goods and services that we take for granted. And we just had poor leadership that denied us, you know, all those privileges that we enjoy as Americans. And that was under Trump. So we had milk with Biden, but it was just a little bit more pricey, all right? So that's my little jab right there. But yeah, that was surreal. I never thought I would ever see that in my life. And that's how spoiled I am as an American. I expect my store to be fully stocked, and just it spooked the heck out of me when I saw so many aisles. And toilet paper wasn't really a big issue because I own a bidet. So, you know, I was like, yeah, the toilet paper we have is just to dry. So I was good there. But it was just crazy how people were just reacting to the shortage we had in stores. Uh, and I was like, wow, I was just blown away with that. So I was like, well, okay, what can we do to prevent that from happening? I'll wear a mask. I'll get vaccinated. So that added to my confidence of getting vaccinated because I was overwhelmed when I saw that. Not emotionally, but I was just like, wow, I don't want this to happen again. And that alone, and also seeing people trying to get labeled as essential workers to jump the line, because if you got your vaccine, if you got vaccinated, you were given a number and a day you were supposed to report. And going to the facility, I went to the North Texas Speedway. I mean, it was just surreal. Another surreal experience, just seeing so many people in biohazard masks and suits and just military personnel out there and just all the doctors. I was like, what? I mean, is there going to be a zombie pandemic or something? I mean, what is going on? This is crazy. So, you know, it puts things in perspective. It's like, this is something we should prioritize because, I mean, a lot of people interpret that as government control. And I'm like, okay, I don't know how people can go that far down the rabbit hole because this is a worldwide pandemic. You can just reference what other countries are doing, and there some of them are just wishing they had the vaccine, and we had it. And anything that's ran by the government, it has to be accounted for. So they had to make sure there was order and make sure there wasn't chaos because a lot of other countries did have chaos. Like in Colombia, the economy got so bad and the law enforcement actually opened fire on the people that were protesting with real live ammunition. So I can see and make sense of how our country is a lot more orderly and it looks like authoritarian to some people, but it's just like when you have to control the masses, it's not an easy job, and you need to make sure you're very coordinated. So it made sense to me at least. I didn't get spooked by the whole process, but yeah. Okay, let's go ahead and go to the negative stigma. I mean, because I just feel like the vaccine, the virus has been politicized so much, and who is to blame? But before we go into detail, let's go ahead and address some of the questions I saw in the live stream or the conversations that I didn't get to finish because when you're trying to engage with so many people at the same time, there's like things that you see that you wrote and you're like, ooh, that was a grammar mistake, fix that. And somebody else says something, and then the podcasters, Craig, you can see the word Craig, the name Craig. These are all points Craig were making or questions. And I just want to address them right now. So, number one, why is Trump still relevant? Because Craig was like saying, Trump's no longer president. Why are you even talking about him? Because Homeboy's still making rallies. This is from the 21st of August, today. Um, yeah, I mean, what is a politician doing? I mean, I don't see Obama making rallies, and I don't see who's another president. I don't see Hillary Clinton going on rallies right now, but Trump, he likes to be relevant. And as soon as Afghanistan, the pullout by Joe Biden, the troops have, I can't even talk right now. Let me start over. Joe Biden pulling out the troops out of Afghanistan. The first opinion that got out there was Trump. So that's a good conversation to have in another video, Afghanistan. So yeah, it's just like he's relevant because he is the Republican Party right now. Yeah, he's getting older, but he's making sure his presence is known through his rallies, and he's been doing that since the Biden administration. So it just makes you go, what was wrong with Trump's aggressive rhetoric? And I think that was something Craig was like trying to really ask. I don't know if that was pointed toward me. I think it was because I was mentioning the January 6th Capitol siege. And he was like saying, well, all he said, he just wanted to fight to make sure, his agenda was pushed. That's what all politicians do. And I'm going to give Craig the benefit of the doubt because he's claimed in the past many times he hates politics, but for some reason he's gotten pretty political with these conversation videos with his brother. And what Trump did was try to discredit our democracy, discredit the elections. No president has ever done that before. He said that the elections were rigged, and a lot of the judges that where all those investigations were held in those states that Trump wanted to investigate, the judges found no ill uh, actions being taken part in our democracy. And they were mainly conservative judges, and some of them were appointed by Trump himself. I mean, for a person that didn't win the popular vote 2 times in a row, just being extra adamant about losing, and it was a rigged election. He's still talking about that right now. So, and I was just watching some of this. It was live, and he was saying, "Well, I left Joe Biden with a border. There no more people coming in. It was a world record." He forgets to mention that we were banned from going to other countries because at that time, when Trump left office, his leadership, we were under this lockdown, and people didn't even want to come to the United States because I think we were reaching number one. We are number one still, COVID rates and COVID deaths, but we were banned from going to other countries because we were one of the countries leading in the COVID virus. And Mexicans were probably saying, yeah, I don't want to go to the United States right now. It's a little dangerous. So it wasn't nothing to do with the wall. It's our disease we're spreading amongst ourselves, unfortunately. So yeah, we were banned from going to countries under Trump. People put the wall on us. So what else? White wing, right wing aggression. And I emphasized Marjorie Taylor Greene to Craig, and he was like, okay, so, because I said she was emphasizing the Second Amendment, and I don't think I did a good job of articulating why she was being aggressive and divisive. So let's just watch the video.
Well, Joe Biden wants to come talk to you guys. He's going to be sending one of his police state friends to your front door to knock on the door, take down your name, your address, your family members' names, your phone numbers, your cell phone numbers, probably ask for your social security number, and whether you've taken the vaccine or not. Yeah, well, what they don't know is in the South, we all love our Second Amendment rights.
I didn't know that.
And we're not real big on strangers showing up on our front door, are we?
Southern hospitality.
They might not like the welcome they get.
Oh, is that right? So you know what? When you have people advocating for the Second Amendment, when somebody's coming to your house because you invited them, Alabama turns to feds for help with managing COVID-19 surge, August 13th, 2021. So what is her motivation? I mean, if you're the leader of the United States and one of your states are saying, help me, and you go to help, and then you have some wackadoo trying to stir up some hot mess, what's one supposed to think? What's one's opinion should be about a politician like that? Come on, Craig. So the COVID outbreak in Massachusetts. Now, this was something that was brought up in the live chat. An individual, a lady, I don't remember who she was, but she was like saying, well, Massachusetts had an issue with, let me go ahead and show you the chart. You can see right here, the light blue is the fully vaccinated, and you can see that there was a big surge, an outbreak with people getting COVID again, and they were fully vaccinated individuals. And I'm assuming people that were fully vaccinated were enjoying their freedom, their liberty, and they're putting themselves out there. And yeah, they got COVID again. I mean, I don't understand. If you understand how vaccines work and how viruses work, because there's this thing called the flu, and I'm not trying to undermine or downplay this person's commentary, but I'm trying to explain it. The flu, it's a virus. You know, people take vaccines to combat the severity of it. It has never been cured. It comes back every year. Even if it skips a year with you, it might get you eventually. So taking the virus helps combat the severity of the flu. The same thing applies to COVID. And I think one of the things she said is like, they didn't cure it, the vaccine. I was like, you're not going to cure it. You're just going to, make it easier for you not to get hospitalized. Now let's go ahead and compare the hospitalization from Massachusetts with the southern states that have a huge demographic of people that are not getting vaccinated. What's the hospitalization statistics versus Massachusetts? Because there was an article that I didn't take a photo of, but they addressed the outcome, and they were saying that a lot of people that got the COVID virus didn't need to be hospitalized because they had, they were fully vaccinated. So it's effective. So what else? Yeah, we've already addressed some of the divisive behavior and some of the questioning of the stream that I saw from the chat. And yeah, you know what? I think we're ready to just talk some good vibes right now about Craig and Brad. Brad and Craig, because this is Brad's podcast, 5 Times August. They ended with a positive note, and we're going to go ahead and have a discussion after this because I think it'll be helpful for possible future content. So let's go ahead and watch what they had to say, and we'll be closing up pretty soon.
All right. So we did that. We've got a now I guess we will be moving on to the YouTube comment of the day.
The YouTube comment of the day. It sure is. There it is. Before we do that, Travis came in with 1,000 bits. Says, I know this format is harder to get donations during, so I wanted to support. Well, thank you very much, Travis. Greatly appreciate that. Yeah, we don't have a whole lot of support during these streams, but you know what? You guys being here is all that matters, which is good. Speaking of wrestling, by the way, Ted DiBiase hit the follow button. You know what that is?
I just want to go ahead and add a couple of things because based on what Craig said, you know what? If you are getting value out of this conversation or this back and forth, it's not really a conversation, but if you want to see it happen, I have more activity on my Facebook. So if you're a friend, a family member that would like to see possibly me talking to these people in person, subscribe to 5 times August and put a comment out there. These are people from North Texas. I'm from North Texas. It'd be good to have representation because they like to represent, well, what do Texans think? Well, it would be a good episode to see a Texan from the left. And Brad's a good representation of Texans on the right. And Craig, I'll let him define who he is because he claims to be a moderate, but I think he compliments his brother. So we could put those both perspectives out there and see what they have to say about the great state of Texas. So, like I said, even if you're somebody that unsubscribed from these individuals, shame. If you want to go ahead and still watch their content, subscribe and encourage them to have a conversation with people that are informed. And because I think a lot of people that they spoke with, they were just sharing what they felt. And I was like, oh man, you blew your chance to be a good advocate for your beliefs, dude, because you got too emotional. So let's just carry on with this positive vibe that these two are sending.
No.
That's the $1 Million Man.
All right.
Let's check out the YouTube comment of the day.
Our YouTube comment of the day comes from A Different Perspective, Civil Commentary, who has his channel over there. We were watching The Wave last week. We watched the 1981 after-school special called The Wave. That was a lot of fun.
Oh, yeah.
I didn't see this until right before we went on this podcast. I was looking for a YouTube comment of the day, and I was like, oh, YouTube didn't notify me of this comment. But A Different Perspective, Civil Commentary said, I made a video response to y'all's stream. To be continued. I clicked on it. I watched about the first few minutes. Civil Commentary, hey, go check it out. He wants to rip us apart and tell us why we're wrong or something like that, from what I gather.
No, I want the attention of your audience, and I want to be able to make good points and create a strategy to combat a common enemy. That's my intention.
After the first 5 minutes.
Okay.
So I'm just saying, go check it out if you want a different perspective. We totally promote that on the show. If you want a different side of things, we watched it. We gave our reaction to The Wave, and I guess you disagreed with it. So I'll check it out too. I got a few minutes in before just to see.
How many times have we been called an idiot so far?
You're an idiot, Craig.
Wait, well, I'm glad he's doing that. And you know what? That's the thing. Like, people are, oh, it's we want other people's perspective. I'll absolutely be watching that as well. That's great. Awesome stuff.
I'm going to award A Different Perspective 43 points today.
Oh, 43. That's wonderful.
Wow.
Yeah.
For
the YouTube comment of the day.
You know what? When you go off on a positive note like that, I think that just creates the ability to talk about solution-based dialogue, and that's what our country needs. I think the best way to combat all these corporate media, news networks, these social media platforms that just profit off the divide, the best way to combat that is to talk, to have these conversations. I wish I knew the theme song. I would sing it to you right now, Brad. To have the conversation weekdays. You're gonna. I don't know the words. If I would have known the lyrics, I would have sang the whole song. But you know what? Who knows? We could probably all sing that theme song together and just have a good conversation. So again, if you enjoy my content, if you want to see this happen, put a comment, like, subscribe to my channel so people will take me seriously. And if I ask them to debate me, they'll be like, hey, he has more than 10 followers. Yeah, we'll go ahead and debate this guy. So that's it for today. And hopefully you enjoyed today's episode, and I'll see you guys later.